Sure. Hello all, welcome to Robensive Training. It's a continued video for the course Advanced Network Exploitation Expert. Myself Rikun Sindwar and I will be your instructor for this entire course. I hold over 5 years of experience in cybersecurity. I'm a red teamer at work. I also do security researcher and hold multiple CVs. Couple of articles are published over Pen Test Magazine, OSCP, OSW and OSCP certified from Offensive Security. The course Advanced Network Exploitation Expert helps you to build core knowledge against network security and penetration testing. The course is for everyone who has basic understanding in cybersecurity, cleared their basics of networking, basics of their penetration testing, or I can say anyone with the knowledge of CEH. Post completion of the course, you will able to gain core concept understanding over various topics, perform internal or external penetration testing, perform extensive network assessment, find security misconfiguration within Active Directory environment, able to do privilege escalation over Windows and Linux machines, write automation scripts, and many more to go. Please read the description before moving ahead with the course content. So we are done with all the Metasploit components, basic understanding of all the different things, MSF Venom things, auxiliaries, exploits, and we are somewhere with the post module and we are done with understanding directory structure for the same. And we will be following again a case study format learning where you will be having some type of scenario and we will be trying to do some type of actions over the same. So here's the first case study that we will be focusing on, and that is for pivoting or routing, or I can say a proxy chaining, right? So there could be different name. What we will going to do is let's assume that we have already compromised one of the machine and we want to navigate towards some internal server. So let's say I'm connected to A server, whereas A server is connected to B server. So how I can execute things or how I can get the information, or I can say scan that B computer just using my A's Metasploiter console. So it will be again more towards the Metasploit component and not towards core understanding of the same, right? So let's get digging. With the assumption that we already have Metasploiter session ready for our task, we will be following this entire video. So if you haven't subscribed, I request you to please do that before moving ahead. Let's dig in. What I'm gonna do, I'll first check the first and foremost is like verifying whether any additional interface or network interface is connected or not. You can do by just typing ipconfig and that will going to list all the interfaces. Of course, there are some hidden interfaces that will also going to be listed here. So what I can see, this is the loopback address default for all the networking device. This is the network that I am connected to, right? So if I type ifconfig, I'll be part of this, as you see on top of here, 10.0.0.17. And if I scroll down, there is one more network, which is 169, 254, 3, and 120. And there is one more network, which is 192.168.179.133. So what we will going to do is we will going to first analyze what are the internal server belongs to this particular interface. So I will be only targeting this interface 16. You can always verify the standard interface, the one which are not hidden, by just typing execute -I for interact, or you can just have a return data, right? So I'll be interacting with the file I want to execute is ipconfig. It's a binary which you'll find in your system32 folder in Windows. So here we go. This is what I already have, 179, 133 and 10.0.0.14. So I'm more focused to navigate towards this particular network and see if any other computers or server or workstations are there or not, right? So with our Metasploiter, we can always hit Control Z or just type background to background this current session. And we can always search for the scripts we want. So right now I'll be using auto route, and here we go. I can just type U0 in order to dig into that particular script, type options to navigate and understand all the different arguments that are required. You can always use info to get a detailed understanding of the same. So you can read this description and navigate further, right? But for this particular argument, or I can say values, it just requires a single thing, which is session. Which session you want to be belongs to. So I want a particular session, let's say. I want particular session which I can of course get by just typing session, and that is 1. So I can just type set session and the value, which is 1. Again, I'll just quickly find options in order to navigate other required values. The another required values is CMD. Auto8 is something that I always recommend. It will automatically grab all the different interface, automatically add their subnet, and we no need to specify the subnet at all. You can also delete if you really want to delete any specific subnet, or you can just print out the same, right? And now what I'm gonna do, I'll just type run, and it will automatically add all the different network interfaces that will be routed through this MSF or Metasploit framework, right? So we need to, of course, validate that whether this actually worked or not. The best way is to just use any port scanner or something. So let's just search for a port or TCP, port with TCP, the basic TCP port scanning. Of course, I want the auxiliary. So adding this aux and the port scan here. TCP port scanner. Perfect. It's a 20. So I'll just type use to 0, and I'm inside that particular script. Let's see what are the arguments required. And it requires almost all. And the non-filled value is just our host. So set our host. I'll go with the different network, of course. And let me quickly copy and paste here. So there are 3 network. I already own this particular, so I'll not gonna go with that. The second network is what I'm more interested in. So I'll just copy that particular IP. Set our host will be 0/24. So it will scan for this entire subnet. And I don't want all the ports to be scanned. So what I'm gonna do, set our port, and we're just going to specify few ports. And if let's say it's a Linux, then it's not our ports, it will be ports. If it is Linux, then probably there will be SSH service, so 22. If it is Windows, then 445 is what most common, I believe though. I'll increase the threads. So if you are scanning just one computer instead of this entire network, adding threads will not gonna make any sense because it only allows one per host. So yeah, I'll just go with like 100 threads. Probably that will make my things faster. And let's give it a try to run. Perfect. Immediately it managed to find that 192.168.179.1 is active. Perfect. The 133, it's its own, so we are not really again interested in. Unfortunately, our Windows VM stopped, so I might have to reboot that. Not sure what's the reason. Let's close it for now and let's run it back. Let's wait for this to be run. This is like an isolated environment where the only Windows VM can access. So let me quick run back. Won't take much time. And perfect. This time I can see this 132 with the port 445 as open. There is no Linux server, of course. It is designed such a way. This autopwn has a IP address, ipconfig, which is 192.168.179.132. And if I try to access that particular server from my Linux machine, let's say ping 192.168.179.1, what was that? It's 132. Okay, 132. It will fail. It doesn't allow. But if I do the same thing from my like Windows machine, let me just quick try. Ping 192.168. This is the victim machine, the one I compromised. 179.132. It works, right? So we are using Metasploit functionality in order to access that particular server. And this is what it proves that, yeah, that server can be easily accessible through or within our Metasploit framework. Perfect, right? So, but out of this Metasploit framework, how we can utilize this, how we can route toward this. Let's say you want to execute SMB map over this 445, you want to execute crack map exec over this 445. How you gonna do that, right? That might be the case. So what we're gonna do, there is another way to set up a SOC server within our Metasploit, right? So we can just search for socks, and here we go, socks proxy. So let's just use it and get the info in order to understand in a better way. So it will gonna do. So this module provides a socks proxy server that uses the built-in Metasploit routing to relay connection. Perfect. So the routed network will gonna be accessible through this SOCKS proxy server. SOCKS proxy will going to route all my network traffic to the victim machine, the victim session, and that victim session will route that back towards the third computer that it designed to, right? So let's just quickly run this out, as it does not really require any additional, I can say, options. So let's run it. Perfect. As soon as I type run, my SOC server has been running here. I can always type netstat-antp to list down all the listening ports, and I can pipe with the grep to get just 1080, which is port here mentioned. So on 1080, there is SOC server running. Can see it's a Ruby because it is running on top of this Metasploit framework that is written in Ruby, right? So all set. And now what I'll gonna do is I'll gonna set up my proxy chain configuration. It's not that difficult. You just have to write this particular file. It can be proxychains.conf or proxychains4.conf depending on your version. So for me, it's proxychains4.conf, and you just have to add this particular line, socks5, which is the version, your IP address, which is 127.0.0.1, and 1080 is the port that was configured, right? As soon as you are done with this, it's okay. It's clear. That's all you have to do for configuring your proxy chain. Now using proxy chain, again, it's simple. So what I'm gonna do, I'll just have to type proxy chains. I already have that. Chains -q for quiet mode. It will not gonna create any mess and all. And let's use SMB map. Perfect. With the particular IP address 192.168.179.132. I'm not gonna provide any username for now, just to verify null session. Null session means you're not providing any username at all. So let's see whether it works or it doesn't work. Perfect. It did connect it. However, no shares has been shown. But if I just add username, let's say please subscribe, and I really request you to do that, and let's see how it goes. And perfect. This shows that I have read access over the share Rob. And this IP does not belongs to me at all. I cannot even access to this particular IP address. I can show you by just typing smb map hyphen capital H and let's say 192.168.179.132. And if I just hit enter, it will going to show me that server file is not open on this particular IP address because it's not accessible. But using proxy chain, I routed my traffic through this particular SOC server, and the SOC server is running over here. You can just type jobs and it will going to give you the current running job, which is SOC's proxy, right? I hope that makes sense. The last tool I want to try with proxy chain is proxy chains hyphen q crack map exec with smb, and let's see how it goes. Perfect, it did work. It did manage to disclose that it's a Windows Server 2016 standard evaluation and version and all the information. Also, it disclosed domain name, which is of course the machine name itself, and also disclose smb signing on or off. So I hope you liked the way, hope you like the concept of post module. And yeah, that's it. That's all for this particular case. We will be back with more test cases. You can always navigate to particular Git book in order to get all the documents uh, which are for the particular video. So document will going to help you a little, and video will going to give you an overall structure idea, and of course the practical demonstration, right? So yeah, that's it. That's all. Hope you liked, hope you learned something new. And if you do, comment below. And if you really like to move myself towards the level next, please subscribe and share it with your friends, colleagues, and more, or someone who's really required this type of knowledge. So that's it. That's all. See you next time.